In the remote corners of Siberia, there is a place called Denisova Cave. For thousands of years, it was a shelter for wolves, hyenas, and ancient humans. But in 2008, researchers found something that didn't fit. It was a fragment of a finger bone from a young girl. When scientists sequenced its DNA, they expected a Neanderthal or a modern human. Instead, they found a third lineage, an entire branch of the human family tree that had been missing for 50,000 years. We call them the Denisovans. But as we've looked closer, we've realized they weren't just one group. They were a sprawling, mysterious empire of ghost cousins who ruled Asia while we were still stuck in Africa. Today, we're uncovering every primal cousin from the Denisovan era, from the giants of the north to the tiny hobbits of the tropical islands. Unlike Neanderthals, who mostly stuck to Europe, the Denisovans were the ultimate travelers. They were genetically diverse, split into at least 3 distinct groups. One group stayed in the freezing north, adapting to the Siberian chill. But another group, known as the Southern Denisovans, likely lived in the jungles of Southeast Asia. We know this because of the ghost DNA found in modern populations in the Philippines and Papua New Guinea. For years, the Siberian cave was our only link. Then, a monk in Tibet found a jawbone in the Bishia Karst cave. It sat in a drawer for decades until protein analysis proved it was Denisovan. This was a game changer. It meant these cousins were living at 11,000 feet above sea level, altitudes that would make a modern human gasp for air, long before we ever arrived. If the Denisovans were the ghosts, we finally found their face in 1933. During the Japanese occupation of China, a laborer found a perfectly preserved, massive skull in Harbin. Fearing its value, he wrapped it in cloth and hid it in a well. It stayed there for 85 years. When it finally emerged in 2018, it shocked the world. This is Homo Longi, or Dragon Man. Dragon Man was built like a tank. He had huge eye sockets and a flat nose, perfectly suited for the harsh, cold climates of northern China. Many experts now believe that Homo Longi isn't just a relative. It is the Denisovan. If so, our mysterious cousins weren't just shadows. They were the giants of the Ice Age. While the Dragon Men ruled the north, a different kind of human experiment was happening in the islands. This is the island paradox. On the island of Flores, we found Homo floresiensis. They stood only 3 feet 6 inches tall. They had brains the size of a chimpanzee's. Yet they made stone tools and hunted stegodons, tiny island-sized elephants. How did they get there? The ocean around these islands is hundreds of feet deep. It suggests these hobbits and their Philippine cousins, Homo luzonensis, might have been seafaring long before we were. They evolved in isolation for hundreds of thousands of years, shrinking in size to survive on the limited food of a small island. But the story of our cousins gets even stranger. While we have the bones of Dragon Man and the teeth of the Denisovans, there are others who have left no physical trace at all. In the world of paleogenetics, we call them ghost populations. When scientists looked at the DNA of modern people in West Africa, they found something they couldn't explain. About 20% of their genetic code comes from an unknown hominin that split from our lineage before the Neanderthals even existed. We haven't found a single bone, a single tool, or a single tooth from this group. They are a total mystery, a ghost species that lived alongside our ancestors for hundreds of thousands of years. And it's not just in Africa. In the Denisova cave itself, the DNA revealed that the Denisovans didn't just breed with us. They bred with a super-archaic population. This group was even older, perhaps descendants of Homo erectus that had been living in isolation for over 1 million years. Think about that. When the Denisovans arrived in Asia, they weren't entering an empty wilderness. They were walking into a world already inhabited by even older, more primitive cousins. These ghosts were the true pioneers of the planet, surviving through multiple ice ages and volcanic winters, only to vanish into our genetic code. We are currently in a race against time to find the physical remains of these ghosts. Whether they are buried deep in the humid soils of the Congo or hidden in the unexcavated caves of Southeast Asia, they are the final pieces of the human puzzle. By 40,000 years ago, these cousins began to vanish. But they didn't disappear completely. When modern humans migrated out of Africa, we didn't just replace them, we merged with them. The Denisovans gave us the gift of survival. They gave Tibetans the gene that allows them to thrive in thin mountain air. They gave people in the Pacific stronger immune systems to fight tropical diseases. They are the reason we survived the transition from the African savanna to the rest of the world. The story of the Denisovan era isn't just a story of extinct species. It's a story of a world that was once crowded with different ways of being human. We weren't the only ones with art, fire, and complex societies. We were just the last ones standing. As we sequence more DNA from the soil of ancient caves, who knows which ghost cousin we'll find next? If you enjoyed this deep dive into our lost history, hit the like button and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you could meet one of these ancient cousins. Would it be the Dragon Man or the Hobbit? Thanks for watching.